Okay, what you're going to learn in this tutorial is how to make a side-scroller AI that's able to adapt to its environment. So I'm going to click the preview button. You're going to learn how to make a forward sensor as well as a down sensor. When the forward sensor detects something in front of it, the AI will jump. When the down sensor doesn't detect something underneath of it, that will make the opponent character jump. If there's spaces in the ground, the opponent AI will know how to jump over those spaces, as you can see here. So some pretty cool stuff. Okay, once you have your programming set up, you'll also learn how to hide your forward sensor as well as your down sensor so that it looks like your opponent AI knows how to adapt by itself to the environment that it's interacting with. Okay, so now we're going to go up to the top of our screen. We'll click on New Scene. I'm going to left click on FS and then left click and drag. We're going to pull that out. I'm going to left click on DS. Now left click, hold, and drag to pull this out. We can just put them on the screen. So now when I click this preview button, we can see that our forward sensor as well as our down sensor is moving right along with our opponent character. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to click back on New Scene Events. We're going to click near the bottom. So I click so I have this whole event highlighted. You can see the blue line here as well as here. And with that done, I'm going to go up to our Add New Event button. I'm going to click once, then click again. So we have two new events here. And then what we want to do here is we want to set up a collision for our forward sensor. So we're going to click Add Condition. We're going to go to Common Conditions for all objects. We're going to go to Collision. We're then going to select Collision again. And what I'm going to do now is select FS for our forward sensor. Then I'm going to left click on Object. And then I'm going to select ground is what we want. And the rest of our settings are fine. So we'll click OK. So we basically said when our FS forward sensor, that's what FS stands for, is forward sensor, is in collision with the ground, we want something to happen. So now we're going to set up what we want to happen. So we're going to click Add Action. We're going to go down to Platform Behavior. We're going to left click once. Now we see these other options. We're going to go to Controls. And then we see this Simulate Jump Key Press. We're going to left click here. And what we want to do is simulate that for our opponent character. So we're going to left click here. And then after doing that, we're going to left click on OK. Okay, with that done, and with this highlighted, this whole event highlighted, what we want to do is right click and then select copy. So we select and copy this this whole event. We're going to left click first here. So we have this blue highlight going around our action as well as our condition as well as our action. I'm going to right click and then select paste. So we just copied this condition as well as this action to here. And we did this again to save time. So what we want to do is we want to double click here for this object for collision. I'm going to backspace. I'm going to change this to DS. And then we want the object to be ground. However, see this invert, this condition here where it says invert. So basically what is normally happening is saying that when the object comes in collision with the other object, in this case the DS object, our down sensor comes in collision with our ground object, do something. We want to do the opposite. When our uh, down sensor isn't in collision with the ground, we want something to happen. And the way we're going to have that set up so that something happens when the down sensor isn't in collision with the ground is by left clicking on this invert condition button. We're then going to click OK. Okay, so that is, for the most part, what we need as far as having our opponent having the necessary program to adapt to the environment. We want to make our environment so we can be we want to set things up so we can track our opponent character as it works its way through the environment. So to do that, we're going to click Add Action. We're then going to go to Layers and Cameras. I'm going to scroll down, and then I'm going to select Center on the center of the camera on an object. I'm going to left click there, and then I'm going to select Opponent. And the rest of these settings are fine. I'm then going to click OK. Okay, in Gdevelop, a condition says when something happens, and then the action says what to do when something happens. So because we have no condition here, basically what we're telling Gdevelop to do is to do this constantly. So to constantly center on our opponent character, and that's what we want. So the reason why we went through all of this is what we want to be able to do is I'm going to zoom back. I'm going to left click on our ground here. I'm going to now right click, select copy, and then I'm going to right click and select paste. So by me clicking this, copying it, and then pasting this, I get the same size as this object here. So what I'm going to do is move this down here like this. I'm holding the middle mouse button to pan. And now I'm going to right click and select paste again. So now I have this here. I'm going to click this, move this up some. For here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make this shorter like this here. I'm then going to right click, select paste here. Roll the mouse wheel to zoom back more. I'm going to right click and then select paste here to put another ground instance right here. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click this go right sprite. I'm going to move this all the way over here. What should happen is our opponent character, when the forward center touches this ground, should make our opponent character jump. When the opponent character comes to here and sees this space here, well, I should say the down center on the opponent character gets to here, the opponent character should jump over here. It should go to this go right sprite, go back, see this space. The down center should see this, jump over here. The forward center should touch here, make this jump up here, and then the character should just repeat. Okay, when I say repeat, I mean the character should repeat its actions as it goes through along its course. So let's click the preview button. Okay, everything is good so far. Excellent. Okay, so let's change things up and see if our character adapts. So we'll left click here, right click, select copy, paste. have a space here. Let's select the paste. Space here. Paste. Let's move this over some like this. Paste. Let's see how our character does with these minor changes here.